Tactics, tactics, tactics. That is all that is going on in your mind. I know that. This is why I'm bringing you the best tactics that I feel are out there. Now, best tactics shouldn't be said because tactics, I highly believe, are personal, but there are some formations which are better than the other ones. In my opinion, right now, the most overpowered formation, I mean, objectively, that is the 4-2-1-3 because it's just too easy to play for anyone. I have been showing you narrow. I meant the 4-2-3-1 wide formation has to be the best formation in the game for me. Why? You know my favorite formation if you watch this channel. That is the 4-4-1-1. I have explained it many times, but those of you who are new, guys, see. But I have explained it many times, but for those of you who are new, see, we have RM, LM compared to LW, RW. Now, when we are building up, it is easier to build up with the right mid and the left mid. However, the left winger and right winger are definitely way more lethal on the counter attack. Now, when you set one of these guys as an inside forward, you also drag the opponent's fullback with you. That is how the AI works in this game, the defensive AI, which will always leave some space for you to exploit using a manual trigger. Now, that is another topic. This is why I like 4-4-1-1 a lot. You can do this with any formation, but when you have a cam playing with CMs, you have a triangle, and then you have wingers supporting you up close, right? There is so much you can do on the formation, and then the first time triangle balls, like you need to play to the meta. And the most overpowered way of scoring goals in this game, it is the first time through ball, the first time ground through ball, right? And tiki taka. That is why I really like this formation. But here is the major problem. In the 4-4-1-1, we have CMs and not everyone can defend with CMs this year. I absolutely know that. I respect that, okay? Now, it's very similar to the 4-2-3-1. Now, the 4-2-3-1 wide is same as 4-4-1-1. The major difference that it provides you with CDMs. Now, in 4-4-1-1, you can use shadow strikers. But in the 4-2-3-1 wide, I would suggest you use playmaker, guys, okay? However, you can still use a shadow striker. Now for the defenders, CDMs, I mean, guys, I prefer you use deep lying build up. Why deep lying build up? Because it is easier for you to cut the ball back to your CDMs when you're attacking. Trent Alexander Arnold is an amazing CDM. Use him if you can. Now, when they are set to build up deep playmaker, they support the attack a bit more as compared to holding. However, holding is really good to really lock out the defense. With that being said, guys, you can use holding, but I wouldn't recommend that. That way, your team is too defensive. Now, I would suggest using one guy as an inside forward, the one who's better with the finesse, and the other one as a winger, especially in the 4-2-3-1 wide. The winger provides a lot of width, which can be crucial, and it is actually really good. If you have, let's say, Lorente playing as a right mid, I use Lorente as a right mid a lot because he has what? Incisive plus. And the first time through balls from the wings into the striker is really overpowered nowadays. And winger helps us do that very well. And also, I feel it's a little bit better when we are defending and we don't get caught on counter as much. Playmaker, now you fullbacks, fullback defend. And this formation is very solid defensively. I use balanced and I recommend high. I don't recommend 95 depth. You need to use offside traps. If you can use offside traps, you'll be able to apply pressure even without the 95 depth. Currently, I am running the 4-4-2, not because I think it's a better formation, just for fun, one reason, and second, I want to train myself in this formation. It has been the formation that I have used for the majority of my playing time in this game overall over the past decade. However, the 4-4-2 doesn't provide you as much defensive support, and then it does not have a cam, so you cannot play the first time through balls from the cam to the striker. However, guys, against formation, against some players, doing a first time through ball from one striker to the other striker is really overpowered. If you have a striker with incisive, because this game is played to the playstyles, if you have a striker with incisive, you can do amazing through balls to right mid, left mid, and the secondary striker in this formation. Whenever you are running CMs, try to run both of them as box to box. That way they defend together, they attack together. Your fullback defend, your right back. Obviously, both of them fullback are going to be defend. I use short passing in the 4-4-2, and defensive approach is 70. Like I always say, if you struggle building up, you can always use false 9. This is my 4-4-1-1 tactic. I sometimes use Shadow Striker as well. Nowadays, I'm actually using Shadow Striker and box to box. That is the only change from this previous time I showed you the tactics. And when Lorente is playing here as a right mid, I use him as a winger because, like I said, the first time balls, guys, from the wings to the striker are really overpowered. Now, there's another thing I want to talk about in today's video. You cannot always stick to one formation. You need to have awareness to change the formations. Now, some people ask me, when should we change the formation? Which is a very good and very viable question. Guys, see, when you're building up, let's say you are someone who really plays through the middle, okay? And the opponent is playing, let's say, a 4-2-1-3, okay? Which most of the opponents do. And if you keep getting caught while building up and you see that, okay, his CDMs are blocking out your camp and you're playing a 4-2-1-3 yourself or a 4-4-1-1, and you keep trying to force the play through the center, through this camp, if you are doing that, guys, and you're still getting caught by the CDMs, and it's been one half, you're losing 2-0, that is a signal to change formation. Change to what, however? Do not change to, let's say, a 4-2-3-1 wide because that's a similar shape. You're gonna change to something like the 4-4-2. Play with two strikers. Now, increase your tempo. Increasing the tempo is key. You want to be able to play at a higher pace. That does not mean you rush the attack, but you involve your LM, you involve your right mid, you tell them to make runs, you manipulate the defensive AI of the opponent, right? If you are playing 4-4-2, playing driven passes into the striker and he's able to mark you, you need a cam. That way, switch to a formation with a cam. You need to pay attention and actually understand the game. When you understand the game, what happens? Guys, it is very easy for you to pinpoint the exact reason why you lose a game as well. Okay? Tactics only take you so far. I've heard about the 4-3-2-1 as well. Why is it good nowadays? Because again, you have cams. Cams in this formation, cams in this current meta are really good. And you have two CMs, like you can experiment. You can use one as a playmaker, the other two as box to box. Like there is a lot you can do with this formation, but I still feel it isn't as strong as last year, obviously, and there are definitely better formations in which you should invest your time. Learn the playstyles of your players and then use those playstyles in the formations you play. You'll have a lot of success. But if you don't know how to defend, you'll only go so far. This is why you need to check this video out here.